Texas has a new linebacker, and the Longhorns have retained a very important piece on offense. We're talking about it on Locked On Longhorns. Intro.
You are Locked On Longhorns, your daily podcast on the Texas Longhorns. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in. You were locked on to the Texas Longhorns, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the number one sports podcast network in the world. I'm your host, BK, Brad Kellner, Texas grad, Austin local, and longtime sports radio host here in the Lone Star State. Thank you, everydayers, for making Locked On Longhorns a part of your day every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, so please subscribe. And as always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving a comment. So thank y'all sincerely for that. Late Friday news dumps aren't supposed to be good. Thankfully, that's not the case here. We've got two pieces of great news for Texas fans on a Friday afternoon. The Longhorns have themselves a new linebacker, and a very important piece on offense isn't going anywhere. We'll start on defense. This news just broke within the last half hour or so. Texas has landed a commitment from former Florida State linebacker Justyn Cryer. 6'1", 237 pounds. Cryer is actually from Texas, played his high school football in the Katy area, appeared in 35 games during his 3 seasons at FSU, 10 career starts, all of them in 2025, and logged more than 700 career snaps on defense. So he has a lot of experience, which is something that the Texas linebacker room does not have much of right now after all of the guys have departed. In 2025, Cryer posted 43 tackles, is credited with 15 stops, which are tackles that constitute a failure for the opposing offense, 8 pressures, 7 hurries, and 1 sack. Those numbers made him Florida State's 4th leading tackler on the year, and he was 5th in stops. A quick scouting report on Justyn Cryer. This is a physical, more old school style linebacker who plays downhill. He is violent. He seeks out contact instead of shying away from it. He's more of an early down guy, not going to give you a ton in coverage. Think first and second down. Think stopping the run. That's what this guy is all about. He'll fit runs. He'll trigger downhill. He finishes with some force. Those all sound like Will Muschamp traits to me. We're looking for this Texas defense to be more attacking, to be more physical, to be more violent. That's why Steve Sarkisian made the change away from Pete Kwiatkowski to Coach Boom. I feel like Justyn Cryer fits a lot of what Will Muschamp is looking for and what Steve Sarkisian is looking for from the Longhorn defense. Also with Justyn Cryer, he played a good amount on special teams during his time at Florida State, so he adds a little bit of value in the third phase as well. Just a rental, only 1 year of eligibility remaining, but an important piece at a serious position of need. By the way, if that last name sounds familiar, he's brothers with former Houston and Baylor basketball star LJ Cryer, who is now in the NBA. So some really good genes in that family. We'll take that. But again, a big time pickup for Texas at one of the biggest areas that they needed to fill. And I don't think Texas is done, right? The linebacker room still needs more. Anthony Hill is gone. Trey Moore is gone. Leonga Lafau is gone. Boy, we found out today, maybe yesterday, he was transferring to Colorado. Talk about a step down. Some people thought he was going to end up at Oregon or BYU. Not quite the case. But either way, Leonga Lafau is gone. And Bo Barnes, we've talked about him a little bit throughout the week. There are still some rumors that Texas is trying to get him back, but he's currently in the portal, and he's taking some visits around the country this weekend. So who knows if he will return in 2026. Either way, that room is incredibly thin. You've got Anthony Smith. Everybody's excited about him with what we saw him do in the bowl game against Michigan. The 5-star Tyler Atkinson is coming in. Brad Spence returns for another year. Maybe you move him back to off-ball linebacker full-time. A couple of other young guys there as well, but Cryer gives you some much-needed experience and some talent too. I like this grab for Texas, and I wouldn't be surprised if at least one more linebacker is coming. Texas has hosted a couple of other linebackers in recent days. Former Cal linebacker Cade Uluave has been here, and also former Pitt linebacker Rasheem Biles as well. Those guys generating a bunch of interest from around the country, so the Longhorns aren't alone in those pursuits. but it would be nice for Texas to get at least one more to, again, add some experience, some talent, and some depth to that part of the defense. So that's one piece of good news. I promised you two. We shift over to the offense here. This one is a retention and not an addition, but this one may be just as, if not more, important. It's been reported that the Longhorns have agreed to a deal with running back Christian Clark. He will remain a Longhorn for the 2026 season. Christian Clark, of course, just wrapped up his redshirt freshman year. Speaking of that bowl game against Michigan, how good did he look, right? One of the best parts of Texas's 2-touchdown win back on December 31st was the way Christian Clark played. Obviously got a big opportunity with all of the opt-outs and transfer portal departures in that running back room. Christian Clark finally got his time to shine. 20 carries, 105 yards, and a touchdown against the Wolverines. By far the best game of his college career, and he looked great too. It wasn't empty stats. He was breaking tackles. He was making guys miss. He was showing some speed, showing some agility, showing some power. I really liked what I saw from Christian Clark, and I think most of Longhorn Nation did as well. We all got some confidence, and we all got a little bit of optimism about what he can be for Texas moving forward. There's some rumblings about him maybe going elsewhere. Of course, exit interviews and contract negotiations have been going on with this team. Not breaking any news to anybody. Texas is losing a lot of players because of those conversations. Thankfully, they were able to reach an agreement with Christian Clark, and he is sticking around. A great redemption story, right? Super highly touted recruit out of high school, high 4-star, and made some early waves during his first few months on campus, but he tore his Achilles during fall camp right before the 2024 season, missed all of his true freshman year, spent that time rehabbing, spent most of the past offseason rehabbing, and he just didn't get to play a ton in the regular season. Only 35 carries across 12 regular season games, kind of buried on the depth chart. And again, clearly not 100%. Still coming back from that major full Achilles tear that he suffered. But again, he stepped up in the bowl game when he was called upon, his first real opportunity to make some things happen, and he made some things happen. He was a huge part of Texas's offense in that win. And I can't help but think of what Tashard Choice said about Christian Clark when he got to campus. Tashard Choice, Texas's former running back coach, who recruited and ultimately signed Clark to campus a couple of years ago, he actually compared Christian Clark to Bijan Robinson, saying he has some Bijan traits. And myself, I think a bunch of Texas fans heard that and were like, oh, hello. We all know how good Bijan Robinson was. Heck, is. We're still seeing it every Sunday with the Atlanta Falcons. We're thinking, oh my gosh, we're about to have another Bijan, or at least like a Bijan starter kit again in Austin. This would be great. Obviously, the Achilles tear slowed everything down, and Christian Clark has worked his tail off to get back to this spot. I didn't want his Texas story to be over, and I'm glad there are a few more chapters in his book. A very important retention for Texas at running back. Obviously, the Longhorns added Arizona State transfer Raleek Brown a couple of days ago. He's the number one tailback. Maybe Texas adds one more from the portal. I wouldn't be surprised, although they need to focus on offensive line and a couple of other areas right now. But having Christian Clark back is great. And as it stands, I mean, he's your number 2 running back. Of course, Derek Cooper, the highly touted freshman, is coming in. You've got James Simon, who's slated to return. You've got Jet Walker. But I feel like Christian Clark, if Texas were to be playing a game on Saturday, he would be the number 2 guy and a big part of the game plan. And unless the Longhorns add one more from the portal, I feel like that will be the plan when we get to September. Having him back is great. He can help for 2026, but also for 27 and potentially 28 as well. And developing more under new running backs coach Jabbar Jalouk. I think there's still a lot of potential left with Christian Clark. And again, I didn't want to see him realize that potential somewhere else. I'm glad it's happening in Austin. A locker room favorite, a great story. And as it stands, a guy who will be a big piece of the puzzle for the Texas offense this fall. So 2 pieces of great news on a Friday afternoon, early evening. Hopefully we're just getting started because Longhorn fans need some more good news with the way things have gone down this week. Hopefully the weekend gives us a lot of positivity and a lot of fun things to talk about right here. But that'll do it for this episode. If you made it this far, number 1, God bless you. Number 2, please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave a comment, rate 5 stars. Seriously, can't thank you all enough for your continued support of Locked On Longhorns. It's been a fun few weeks here, and it's all because of y'all. But that will do it for this episode. Y'all enjoy the weekend. I'm sure we'll be doing another one of these very soon. Thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, horns up, mics off. We'll see y'all soon. This is Locked On Longhorns.